She was called the Iron Lady, unbending and driven, respected and feared. Whether it was ideology or economics, trade unions or terrorists, it was agree with Maggie or get out of the way. And for that, Margaret Thatcher goes down in history as the most influential British Prime Minister of the post-war era. That kind of self-confidence, though, wasn't always so apparent.
I don't think that there will be a woman Prime Minister in my lifetime. And I don't think it depends on so much whether it's a man Prime Minister or a woman Prime Minister, as whether that person is the right person for the job.
She apparently was the right person. Britain's first female Prime Minister, she led the Conservative Party to 3 election wins in a row, the country's longest-serving Prime Minister in almost 2 centuries. Thatcher got in on the ground floor of the Reagan Revolution, joining her American counterpart in an alliance of common goals and ideas. She worked to transform Britain socially and economically, and quickly, too quickly for some. She decimated the trade unions, sold off state-owned monopolies, and ruthlessly tackled inflation, despite the dire economic consequences it caused in the short run.
We are rolling back the frontiers of socialism and returning power to the people.
Abroad, she helped lay the foundations for democracy where there were none. She was one of the first to publicly support former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev and took her share of the credit as the Cold War ended and the Berlin Wall came down. She treasured her special bond with President Reagan and regarded Britain's partnership with the U.S. as universally important.
The great Anglo-American alliance has been the greatest alliance the free world's ever known in defense of freedom.
She defeated Argentina in the 1982 war over the Falkland Islands and began the long process toward peace in Northern Ireland, despite an attempt on her life linked to the Irish Republican Army.
All attempts to destroy democracy by terrorism will fail.
But it was her increasing reluctance to allow Britain to be fully integrated into European policies which led to her fall.
I have resigned from the cabinet and I will make a full statement later today.
When one of her top cabinet officers resigned over those policies, the battle lines were drawn. She won another election, but deeply divided her party in the process. When more members of her government quit over the European question, her colleagues finally told her she had to step down.
It's been a tremendous privilege to serve this country as Prime Minister.
She endorsed her successor, John Major, but always spoke up when she thought he wasn't doing a good job. In 1997, John Major and the Conservatives lost power.
Oh, I'm sorry for all of those who lost. It's an experience I never had.
Major lost to Tony Blair and his new Labour Party, new some said because of Maggie Thatcher. Because of her, they say, the Labour Party was forced to reinvent itself, abandoning its left-wing history and moving more towards the centre. Thatcher's later years were marked with a fair amount of hardship and loss. Her beloved husband and consort Dennis died in 2003, and her son Mark was convicted and fined in South Africa for procuring military hardware allegedly to be used in the botched coup attempt in Equatorial Guinea. Lady Thatcher suffered a series of strokes that led doctors to advise her against speaking in public anymore. She did prepare a recorded speech for Reagan's funeral, which she attended. Despite her frailty, the Iron Lady kept going. She appeared to relish the 80th birthday party thrown in her honor in 2005 and kept her hand in politics as long as she could. Lady Thatcher spent many of her post-Downing Street years writing her memoirs and lecturing, always promoting the virtues of Thatcherism, and kept her hand in politics as long as she could. Her importance as a key figure in international politics was always recognized. In September 2010, the Iron Lady appeared with the current and past UK Prime Ministers to welcome Pope Benedict XVI on his historic visit to London. Soon after, in October of that same year, she was hospitalized after a bout of influenza. But again, Lady Thatcher displayed her iron will to fight back. She once said her epitaph should read that what she did was restore Britain, provocative and absolute in her conviction, to the end. In London, Amy Kellogg, Fox News.